Hello everybody, how are you doing? Karl here. Unexpected, unprecedented bonus video. I posted this morning a video from this weekend when I did women's rugby. Today as well, I'm going to now talk to you a little bit about a bit of breaking news this morning. So, as many of you know and have seen, I am a massive advocate for the women's football game. As a fan, as a photographer as well. I love the women's game for many, many reasons, some of them being the standard of football, the nature of the football, in as much as you don't see many sort of part of the bus teams in the women's game. It tends to be quite an expansive, free-flowing attacking game of football at times, which is reflected in the amount of goals that will be seen. It's a game that's growing by the year. Some of the biggest international stars gracing these shores. The biggest of which arguably being the brief time that Alex Morgan spent in this country, kind of towards the tail end of 2020, which was unbelievable. And now we've been greeted today with probably the very, very best news that could have been imagined. Now, being in and around the ladies' games, it's been rumoured for a while that Sky Sports were looking to get on board, given that BT Sports have done a few games this season and it's been well received, well greeted. The women's game's growing massively, but nobody kind of knew the extent to which they'd get involved. I think the best hopes were maybe there'd be a game or two that Sky would show on their channels in the absence of men's fixtures. But let me read you the bullet points of this morning's press release. So, 22 live matches on BBC TV, including a minimum of 18 on BBC One and BBC Two, remaining matches on the red button and online. Massive, so BBC have come in on it as well. Fantastic news. Up to 44 live matches with a minimum of 35 shown on Sky Sports Football, Premier League and main event channels. So Sky have gone in big on this. They're saying anywhere between 35 and 44 games on their mainstream channels. This is from September onwards, so we're looking at next season now. Selected fixtures will also be simulcasted onto Sky One and Sky Sports Mix, so those are the free-to-view channels without the Sky Sports package, so that's huge. That's bringing it to everyone and maybe enticing a few new customers into their sports package. Remaining matches not selected for broadcast will be shown on the FA Player, so essentially I'm taking from that there will not be a game in the WSL that you're unable to watch in one form or another, be it on the BBC, Sky or the FA Player. You won't have to miss a kick of the season. There will be one free-to-air game on BBC every weekend, with Sky having two other picks. Wow, that's big. Selected matches expected to be scheduled for Friday at 6:30, Saturday at 11:30, Saturday at 12:30, and Friday 6:30, Saturday 11:30, and then two games on a Sunday, 12:30 and 6:30. That's massive. That's a whole weekend of WSL action. Similar to the men's games, it's putting it on a level with the men's games, where you have your Friday night footballs, you have your at least one game, if not two games on a Saturday, you have 2 or 3 games on a Sunday. The only obvious absentee is a Monday night football, but who knows, if next season goes well, they might branch out into Monday night football for the women, who knows, and midweek coverage. And here's the biggest point for me. This is the groundbreaking bit for me personally. 75% of investment revenue to go to WSL clubs and 25% to the Women's Championship. That is, in a nutshell, what happened to the men's game. Not exact figures, obviously, but the men's game when the conception of the Premier League was made in the early 90s. that's why the game is now as big as it is, because that revenue went back into the men's games, and that's enabled, the huge transfer fees that we see today, the influx of huge foreign players. It was a game changer for the men's game, the Premier League and Sky rights and that money filtering into the clubs and investment. So this is the women's equivalent of that, and that's mouthwateringly exciting. That really is. That's going to help the game grow massively. Obviously, with the same as sort of the Premier League and the Championship, this being the women's equivalent, I do hope that some of the money trickles down to the lower pyramids. To support the clubs at the bottom as well, because everything starts from the bottom up with football, from grassroots up. And I'm hoping that some of that money sees its way down. But I mean, that's huge. These clubs in WSL get 75% of investment revenue, and 25% in the Championship is a game changer. It literally is. It will help the game grow leaps and bounds, and it's already growing year by year to a massive extent. So this is just going to propel that beyond the biggest wishes and desires of clubs and fans and players. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I mean, one thing worth mentioning as well is, it's obvious to look at the WSL, but I've got a knowledge of the Championship, one division below, and I've done some games in the Championship. And I've got to say, it's a very, very competitive division. I mean, as things are structured at the minute, one team goes down from the WSL and one team comes up. So, I mean, this season, for a long time this season, it was pretty much level pegging, Leicester and Liverpool fighting it out in the Championship. But Liverpool have fallen by the wayside now, and it looks inevitable that it's going to be Leicester that are promoted. But again, it's more proof that the men's clubs are putting that time and that effort and that money into the women's games. And before long, the WSL, I mean, it's already got Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Birmingham, Everton, Tottenham. You've got a lot, Chelsea, you've got a lot of these sort of dominant names in the men's game in the female game. And obviously, you've got the likes of Leicester coming up now, by the looks of it. And you'd imagine Liverpool will be there or thereabouts next season, depending on who comes down from the WSL. Because obviously it's a division that Villa dominated in last year. So yeah, I think it's massive. It's absolutely huge. So yeah, stunning news this morning. So made up, and yeah, here's to the next 12 months of growth for the women's game and beyond. Cheers for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I'll speak to you soon.